From where I sit, there can be a lot of obstacles when it comes to travel, and a lot of people telling me no you can't, just because I don't walk. But they don't know me. Having a disability and being in a wheelchair has been a blessing, and I refuse to let it hold me back from seeing the world and living my best life. I have flown in a hot air balloon, been ziplining, ridden in an amphicar, and absolutely love traveling. Sure, there are things I need to figure out along the way, but from where I sit, everything looks just fine.
Hi everyone, it's Jamie with Adventures by Jamie, and I'm so excited today because Jorge, who is my best friend, is here, and we are going to share with you a crazy adventure that we had at Big Thunder Mountain. But before we get into all of the details, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also make sure to ring that bell so you never miss a future video. So this new series called From Where I Sit is all about disability travel. More specifically, my experiences with disability travel. So like I said, we're going to talk about Big Thunder Mountain. Now this was, what, back in
2011.
2011 for Jorge's birthday. Yes. And so it was myself, it was Jorge, and it was another friend of ours. So we were at Magic Kingdom, and we had decided to go over to Tom Sawyer's Island. Now, to give you guys a reference, I am in a power wheelchair. However, that particular day, I decided to take my manual wheelchair, and poor Jorge and my friend, because I can't propel the wheelchair myself.
We drove around all day.
They were my chauffeurs, you know, so, but you know, that's a lot of pushing for a day. So we raft over to Tom Sawyer's Island. But then it became very, very apparent that Tom Sawyer's Island is not Jamie friendly at all. Now, to put into reference, Jorge and I, now we've been best friends for 20 years, which is, you know, a long time. But Jorge, what were you going to say?
Nothing.
Uh-oh.
Nothing.
But you know, to put into reference, not the whole 20 years, but Jorge is also my caregiver. So I need help with things like transferring, dressing, showering, driving. I don't drive. So there are things that he helps me with. He's not here 24/7. He has a full-time job and all of that, but you know, he has been in that role as my caregiver for a very long time. But truly, like, we're just friends, and it just all is part of our world, I guess. You know, it's very normal for us. So anyway, not Jamie friendly. Getting back to our story. And so what?
We get onto the island from the boat, and pretty much for most people, you just, you know, it's not that big, and you can run around, frolic, you know.
And you explore.
And for Jamie, the most we could do is just kind of push her up a trail, and you think, oh, well, here's this. Let's go around. Nope, here's some steps. Either a few steps up or a couple steps down. Yeah. And so at one point, you pretty much just park Jamie, you know, and decide just park Jamie here, and she's facing like, here, look at the ride. Look at the nice ride over there.
Yeah, there was a beautiful view of Big Thunder Mountain, like right across the lake. You know, and so, I mean, I was cool with that. Like, go, have fun, explore, adventure, whatever. I'll just chill here, you know. But, so while I'm there, you know, and I was there maybe 15 minutes. I mean, it wasn't long. But while I was there, I'm seeing train after train after train go by. And I'm thinking, that doesn't look that bad, you know. Because for me, I don't do roller coasters. Not because I don't want to. He does. He loves roller coasters. And truly, I love roller coasters. But I can't do them. And the reason being, back when I was 15 years old, I had a spinal fusion. So I have a metal rod from my pelvis all the way to the base of my neck. And, I have to be careful. I can't take the risk of being really jarred around and potentially screw something up. But I'm watching this ride and I'm thinking, I think I could do that. And so the guys get back and
we all were discussing possibly going on Thunder Mountain.
Because he's been on it before.
I've been on it, a few times in the past. And, our other associate, has been on it too. And we just looked and it was pretty much all three of us. Oh, that doesn't look bad. Yeah, that doesn't look bad. Okay, let's go do it. All right. And then, back on the raft, back over to the mainland. Mainland, Frontierland. I believe, yes, it is Frontierland. And then we head over to Big Thunder Mountain to get in line.
Yeah, and when we were at the ride vehicle itself, I asked the cast member, so does this have any big drops? It's really not that rough of a ride, right? And he's like, oh no, it's fine. And now for
what I didn't count on, though, we didn't bank on not necessarily drops or lifts, was the how some coasters like to go side to side in a very curvy fashion.
Yeah, they bank really hard.
Yeah, thank you, bank.
We didn't count on that. And now the accessible seating happened to be towards the back of the ride. So for any roller coaster enthusiasts, I think everybody knows that the farther back in the ride vehicle that you are, the more you feel it, and so the plan was, now again, I mentioned, I'm in a wheelchair and all of that and the spinal fusion, but because of the spinal fusion, I have, and also let me say, I have muscular dystrophy. So that's the reason I can't walk. So I have very weak muscles. I feel everything, I move everything, but I just don't have the strength to walk. So, for instance, Pirates of the Caribbean. I am one of these people that, and tell me in the comments below if you do this too, but before riding a ride that I've not done before, I will go onto YouTube, go online, and I will watch ride-throughs to see what really I have in store for me and if I think that I can do that ride. And so with Pirates in Walt Disney World, there's one big drop. Now, it's nowhere near the drop like in Splash Mountain, but for me, it might as well be. Because, if I did not have Jorge or our friend or somebody riding that ride with me, as soon as the ride would be going down, I would fall forward. I don't have the core strength to stay up in that position. So I would fall into the people, in front of us. I would fall out of the boat, into the water. I'd go swimming, so what we do on Pirates is I was sandwiched in between them in the ride. So I was in the middle, their shoulders were sort of in front of me, and I had nowhere to go. So it could have been a big drop like Splash Mountain and I would have been fine. So that's what we intended to do on Big Thunder Mountain, but that didn't happen.
Big Thunder Mountain, each car, each seating bench, whatever you want to call it, whereas Pirates is pretty wide, pretty long enough for probably up to 4 people.
Yeah.
This only does 2 people at most.
Yeah.
So to have the third person, which if we had the third person, this would have been nothing. Then okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But we can only do 2, so we were able to get our third person to sit directly behind us.
Yeah.
To help with extra support and such.
So Jorge had gotten into the ride vehicle first. Our friend lifted me, so I don't transfer at all. Remember, I don't wait there. So the way to transfer me is like an arm behind my back and then an arm under my legs and, kind of like carry me over the threshold. That's how, well, That's how it is. And so he puts me in the ride, and it's like, yeah, I have no room. And so he sat behind me, and immediately he's like, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna support your neck. So he literally looks like he's strangling me, from behind. He's holding my neck. So, and Jorge puts his arm around me, because that way, if I went forward, I wouldn't go forward.
Yeah. What we didn't count on is on Thunder Mountain, the restraint they have is a lap bar. What we didn't count on is
one lap bar.
One single lap bar for the one or two for that whole row of one or two people. Usually, a lap bar would touch, everyone as it comes down, locks, and okay, you're in. However, I have big legs. Jamie has little legs. The bar comes down. Yeah, the bar came down. Obviously, holds me pretty much like my legs, so I can't really move.
Yeah, he's in.
Yeah, I'm in. However, the bar never touched Jamie's legs, which were much lower, so there's a nice little space.
Yeah.
So if it was just me in that row, then whatever, I'm in, I'm good. However, it's me. It's like holding me. I'm trying to hold Jamie. The person is trying to hold Jamie from behind, so it looks like, And we start going. It's like, I'm like, okay, this isn't bad. This is good. And then we really start moving. And then we really start moving, and yay! And
immediately, realistically, as soon as that thing took off and made its first turn, I could feel my bottom sliding on the seat.
Unbeknownst to me.
Unbeknownst to him. And I knew I was in trouble. But I'm like, nope, like it's gonna be good. And so I'm like, woohoo, yay! But that yay very, very quickly turned into an extreme panic. Because with every turn, with every little drop, and it just being bumpy, Thunder Mountain is bumpy.
Bumpier than I remember.
Wow. But with every little bit of it, my bottom is sliding closer and closer to the edge of that seat.
Yeah.
And I had visions of myself either sliding down into where your feet go, or literally on one of those hard banks
falling out of the car.
Right out of the car.
Yeah.
Because there's an open space, to the sides. So I just thought, this is not going to be good. And so I am screaming my little head off to try to get, especially his attention. I knew
mostly to get my attention.
Yeah, because I knew our friend behind us.
Yeah, I did not know. He was just like,
no.
I got her head, I got her neck, it's all good.
Like, you could tell, something was up. But...
So, so when, Jamie was able to get my attention, be like, hey! It's like, what? And I'm thinking,
falling.
What? I'm falling. What? I'm falling! And like, okay! So then the nice cradle in my arm turned into like groping, almost like a near groping, because I was trying to be like, well, maybe I will with this kind of go from arm to, and let's see, maybe your chest, on your, on your lack of a better term, breastbone.
Right.
And then it wasn't necessarily the top part, it was the bottom half of her that the bar didn't touch.
Yeah.
So it's like when I could really get a look and see, oh, I see, she's really sliding. So it's like I essentially had to then have my other hand that was free because of that nice little space try and grab Jamie's lap.
Yeah, it's like
to kind of keep her as close to me as the best way to restrain her and keep myself obviously still restrained.
I kept saying to him, grab my legs, and he's, or put your leg
or at least hey, just move your leg between my leg and that'll hold me down. It's like, I can't do that. I'm like, this bar is not, and you're like, yes, you can. No, I can't. Yeah. So then it's like, well, hand.
So literally by the time we stopped, and y'all, that was the longest 3.5 minutes of my life.
I'm surprised we didn't get in trouble for looking inappropriate, as my mom would say, by the end of that ride.
Yeah, I can only imagine if there's, I know
the
they
cameras.
have security cameras. I can only imagine what?
Oh,
or now we didn't stop to see like when they take your picture, you know,
we
on
just
the ride.
got out of there.
We just left. We didn't stop to see what it looked like. So again, I can only imagine what it captured. But you know, by the time we got off, I mean, he literally was cradling me. You know, both legs. He had
or trying to smush hers.
You know, and so our friend hops out very quickly off the ride, lifts me off the ride, puts me back in my chair, and immediately starts poking me everywhere. You know, can you feel this? Can you know, does this hurt?
Do you have feelings?
Yeah,
Is there
do you
any
have
tingling? Any feeling in your hands?
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
And I just kept like reassuring, like, yes, I'm fine. You know, I mean, other than my stomach that I left back on the first turn.
On the first turn.
You know, from being just so scared. Yeah, it was, I have said to this day, and if anybody can find this shirt or knows where I can, you know, make this shirt, I made a shirt that says, I survived Big Thunder Mountain. And it is it's so funny because I know people ride that ride every single day. Little kids ride that ride every day, and it's fine. But for me, that was, they say, you know, the marketing for that ride is, you know, the wildest ride in the West. Boy, was that ever. It was something else, let me tell you. So yeah, I need a I Survived Big Thunder Mountain shirt. Now, I also want to just wrap up by saying this was my experience on Big Thunder Mountain as a wheelchair user and a person with a disability. Now, it's only mine, okay? So not all people with disabilities are created equal. So when you see someone in a wheelchair or you find out their diagnosis, like I shared, I have muscular dystrophy. You know, another person in a chair that has muscular dystrophy might be able to do things that I can't, and vice versa. Like, you know, we don't all fit into a little box and one size fits all. So, you know, people that have muscular dystrophy or that are in wheelchairs might be able to ride Thunder Mountain with no problem at all. You know, for me, not so much. You know, now I will say I am a little bit of the adventurous type, and it's been quite some time, and I'm like, Big Thunder Mountain, maybe we'll try that again. And he's always like, oh no.
Because immediately after we finished the ride, I got back in line and went on by myself.
He went right.
So I could enjoy it this time.
Because it was not really enjoyable for him. You know, so that is our, you know, terrifying tale of Big Thunder Mountain. And we have so many more stories to share with you. Not all, you know, that are terrifying and everything, but just fun stories, and we're so excited. You know, we hope that you like this first installment of From Where I Sit, and definitely stay tuned for much more. So we look forward to talking to you all real soon. Bye guys.
Bye bye.